Hello everyone, welcome to TechLab. Last time we talked about localization in general. This time we are going to go deeper and look at localization methods used when the robot already has a known map of its environment. Let's start with the most basic localization method. Before we look at any specific method, there is one important idea you need to understand. Instead of guessing one exact position, robots usually keep many possible guesses at once, then slowly narrow them down using sensors and movement. Think of it like this. If you were blindfolded in a building with a floor plan, you wouldn't say, I'm here for sure. You would say, I might be here or here or here, and then start ruling things out. One of the classic approaches to localization in a known environment is called Markov Localization. At its core, Markov Localization divides the entire map into many small cells, like a grid. Instead of guessing exact positions, the robot keeps track of how likely it is to be in each cell. You can think of it like spreading probability across the map. At the beginning, if the robot has no idea where it is, all locations are treated as equally possible. The robot is basically saying, I could be anywhere. When the robot moves, it shifts this probability across the map. If it drives forward, the probability moves forward too, but it spreads out a bit, because movement is never perfect. Then the robot looks at the sensors. Cells where the sensor readings match the map become more likely, and cells that don't match become less likely. This update process repeats over and over. Move, then sense, then adjust probabilities. Over time, the probability concentrates in one area, and the robot can say, I'm most likely here. Markov localization is powerful because it's very systematic and robust. If the map is large or very detailed, keeping track of probabilities for every cell becomes computationally expensive. So the next step is obvious. What if we stop thinking about every cell and only concentrate on a handful of possible positions? That's where our next method comes in. Let's start with the simplest idea, randomized sampling localization. The robot starts by making lots of random guesses about where it could be on the map. Each guess is a position and a direction, like saying, maybe I'm here, facing this way. For every guess, the robot checks the map and asks, if I were actually standing here, what would my sensors see? For example, would there be a wall right in front of me? How far away would the nearest wall be? Is there open space on the left or right? Now the robot looks at its real sensors, maybe a laser scanner or distance sensors. If a guess says open hallway ahead, but the sensor says wall very close, that guess is clearly wrong. So the robot deletes those wrong guesses. After this step, only guesses that match the real world survive. When the robot moves, every remaining guess moves too. Then the robot senses again and removes more bad guesses. Over time, the guesses cluster together and the robot can say, okay, I must be around here. This method is easy to understand, good for teaching, and works surprisingly well in simple environments. But it has a problem. If the robot throws away too many guesses too quickly, it can get lost, and it doesn't do a great job handling noisy sensors or will slip. That's why real robots usually use an improved version. Monte Carlo localization, often called MCL, is what you will find in the most real indoor robots. It's based on the same idea as before, but smarter. Instead of just removing bad guesses, MCL does something clever. It gives more copies of good guesses and fewer copies of bad ones. In this method, each guess is called a particle. A particle is just a possible position and a possible direction. When the robot drives forward, every particle moves forward too, but not perfectly. Some move a little more, some a little less. This matches real life. Wheels slip, engines aren't perfect. Then the robot checks its sensors. Particles that predict sensor readings similar to the real ones get a high score. Particles that don't match get a low score. Particles with high scores get copied, and particles with low scores slowly disappear, so the cloud of particles naturally gathers around the most likely location. After a few movements and sensor updates, almost all particles end up in the same area. That's when the robot knows where it is. In real robots, Monte Carlo localization isn't usually written from scratch. Instead, it comes packaged inside well-tested software. One very common example is AMCL, which stands for Adaptive Monte Carlo Localization. In ROS 2, AMCL is part of the nav2 navigation stack, and it's one of the most widely used localization systems for indoor robots. At a high level, nav2 AMCL does exactly what we have been talking about. It uses particles to represent many possible robot positions. When the robot moves, the particle moves. When the robot senses the environment, usually with a laser scanner, the particles are scored and resampled. The word adaptive is important here. AMCL automatically adjusts how many particles it uses. When the robot is confident about where it is, it uses fewer particles to save computation. Like at the startup or after being moved, it increases the number of particles to recover. In nav2 AMCL, the motion model and the laser sensor model are already implemented for us. So in practice, we don't code the algorithm from scratch. We mainly provide our map and then tune a YAML configuration file so AMCL matches our robot sensor and motion. So to wrap everything up, when a robot has a known map, localization is all about managing uncertainty. We started with Markov localization, moved to randomized sampling, and then saw how Monte Carlo localization makes this particle for real robots. Finally, we looked at AMCL in nav2, which brings all of these ideas together in a system that's widely used in practice. In the next video, we will build on this and look at how robots create maps and localize at the same time. Thanks for watching.